Oh, it's good to see you guys. All right, let's get started. Um, yeah, we actually got some really good stuff. I actually got about 15 videos for you guys. The videos are starting to come. And, with Jimmy's help, we'll make sure that we get these posted so you can use it, you know. Um, we're going to talk about two different things today. I just got off the video call with Colombia. I'm doing certification of coach at Colombia. There's 10 meetings over a period of 12 weeks. And so I was just talking to them about, the new, how you guys feel about the attacker in the new game? We were actually having a conversation about that with some of our, some good colleagues, coaches like us. And the attacker has taken a new role. We can go back and go back to the days that we didn't even have positions, and now the attacker is actually a very active, where actually most teams, we just had the voting. There's, 16 of us that vote for the players of the year. And I just got my ballot. And it was really interesting because on the ballot in the past, we always had a lot of like centers and goalies and, stuff like that, defenders. And the ballot this year, it's actually, I think 11 out of the 12, 9 out of the 12 players nominated were all drivers, were all attackers. So that's kind of giving us a good idea as how it's showing. It's changing. We've always had great attackers in the world, and we would go back to in U.S. history, like guys like Kevin Robertson, Gary Figueroa, Mike Evans, of course, Tony and Wolf Weigel and Chris Oding, Stan Cole back in the old days. So we've always had some great drivers, and same thing all around the world, right? But most of these guys, with the exception of the 2 or 3 that I mentioned at the end there, like Chris, Tony, and Wolf, the majority of these great drivers were in the 70s. They were in the 70s and 80s when the game was really being almost like a just driving game, right? The ball would come to the center. There was a 3-foul change. Very few teams used zones. Most of it was press. And, some of the zones were maybe like a 2-4 or, they called back in those days 11-1 zone. But now what we see coming back, so therefore about, like, if you look back to the, mid 90s, when it's the already and those guys were finishing, and, if you go back from the 90s to almost like 2012, can't really say a lot of drivers, like I said, US, we had Wolf, and Tony, Canada, nothing else in Asia per se, being in China. In Europe, we had Peroni, of course, but like the great Russian drivers like Yershov and Markoch, those guys are, again, older. And so the attacker position kind of like disappeared a little bit, and so it's back. It's really back. But what's happening right now is that they're back, but we don't know what to do with them. This is a big problem. And I'm not talking about just, like in the beginning level as a beginning coach. No, I'm talking about I got coaches that are NCAA top-level coaches and coaches at international that say, Rico, again, how did you used to teach that extra stroke, or how do you used to teach the quickness? And because that's kind of a lost art. Back in the days, we said things like greenie and RBs and all these things. Well, that's gone. People don't know how to do this anymore. Everybody now wants to put the ball in the hand on the ball, and they want to put the ball in the water. Everybody now wants to throw the left hand out to get that extra power, And what you see is that you go back and you look at the golden era. Let's be honest here. We have to be, in our sport, the golden era of water polo was between, the late 70s and the late 80s. That water polo was magic during that time. And as I was talking to Paulo earlier, it's like when Portugal got back into water polo in 85, so did China, so did so many countries, Egypt, countries that maybe were powerful in the 1950s. Well, that late 1970s and 1980s brought back that whole energetic game. The rules were good. There were some simple, basic rules that made a big difference, like, offensive foul not being an exclusion foul. I think the addition of the second referee, the addition of the shot clock, it seems like every move we made in the 80s, you know, in the late 70s and early 80s, they were to make the game exciting, you know. And then unfortunately we got into the 90s, and I won't get into, I know if I can't say something nice, I won't say something at all. But we got, you know, some interesting influences in the 90s that kind of made the game a very kind of like just grab and fight. And of course that benefit just 4 countries. Interesting enough, those were the 4 countries that were very involved in these rule changes. And even more interesting, those are the 4 guys that were actually very involved in FINA at that time. Not that I'm saying they had anything to do with it, but it's quite interesting how when you have 4 people from 4 countries, they change the rule to benefit those same 4 countries. It makes you kind of think about it like, oh, you know, maybe it was a coincidence, you know, but it happened. But we're now going back to this wonderful game of creativity, giving goals. I mean, quick passing, driving. My goodness. I mean, the game of water polo, it is truly not because we are here, but it's a game that is second to none. I mean, it has everything you want. I mean, it has the physicality, it has the quickness, the tactics, the passing, the bodies. I mean, you got everything. Come on. You got a game of water polo is the easiest thing to market in the world. The problem that we have a lot of times is, like I said, in some countries, I know, for example, in some countries, you know, where swimming is so powerful, a lot of times they kind of put the, you know, the stop there. But those countries are also finding out, because it was published about 3 weeks ago, that swimming is at an all-time low in the dropout kids quitting. Right now, kids that join swimming within 3 years, 64% of kids are quit swimming because it's too much. They've been pushed too hard. And the third part that is there's not a lot of, let's say, I'm not saying dishonesty, but I'm just saying, if you got a kid in water polo that comes in and the kid doesn't show a lot of promise in water polo, most water polo coaches will, because they have to pick a team, will just say, hey, you know, you're not as good, and maybe you look at another sport, or it's just hard because you won't make the team. We can only take 13, 14, 15. Swimming, on the other hand, you got a kid that can't break a minute, and he's already 20 years old, and there's at least 80,000 people faster than him in the country, yet that kid still swims, and the coach is still telling that kid that, no, he has a chance. You know? Yeah, you always have a chance.
Good to see you, John.
You always have a chance, but I'm not so sure that you're going to be able to. That, you know, it's actually one of the ways that I used to coach, and that is, hey, I coached, you know, I coached 101 seniors, and 99 went on to play college ball when I was at Wilson. The same happened at Bosco and Gar and every place I've been to. So my guys are continuing to play, but then I look at the swim team, and there's like, you know, 100 guys that swim in high school, and then 3 swim in college. Got a little bit of a problem here. So that dropout is very high. So we are starting to see, there's at least FINA has publicly made a statement of, do not call it swimming schools anymore, call it aquatic schools, and introduce other aquatic sports as you do it. And if you do that, you're going to find out that maybe those guys that they're dropping from swimming, because who the heck wants to chase the black line that never ends, you know, might be the guy that will play water polo. It could be a grade 1 or a synchronized swimmer or a diver or whatever. It doesn't matter, you know. So I think is starting to be seen by the big guys, and that's great. So just a quick little got together. But I want to show some videos right off the bat. I want to start with some wall videos that we have put Maggie through it and Tony through it, and they're really working really well. All those videos, I'll send it to Jimmy so you have access to all of them. Okay, so let's just go in here on the share screen. I always forget which one it is. This one here? No, that's not it. Yeah, that's it. Okay, so let's take a look at this one here first. Let's go, let's see, leg vertical strength. Yeah, let's go with this one first. What I want you to see on this drill more than anything else, is whenever I design a drill, of course, what I've been doing right now is designing a lot of drills. Sometimes I'm like, wake up in the middle of the night and I now going to sleep with a little pad next to me. Wait a minute, my sharing is paused for some reason. Let me resume sharing on your stupid thing. Resume. Okay, let me go back to that. Do it again. Sometimes those things. Where's Jimmy? Okay. All right, there we go. Okay, so the first one, I want you to take a look at it, and I will pause it, but take a look at how the exercise is actually covering a lot of spots. Okay, so here we go. I'll play it for you.
Wall drill series with both hands on the wall, using a combination of egg beater to maintain high position and a vertical breast to jump back and forward from the wall and back. The player repeats this exercise 6 times. Height and leg strength are a key.
Okay, so if you look in here, I mean, if you look at an exercise like this, and this is actually an exercise that encompasses about 7 different skills. I'm working on their forearm right here. I'm actually working also on their shoulders. Okay, I'm working on their back, their core. If you look at the way the legs are gonna go, so if I release Maggie right now, you watch how you push, right there, stop. She uses the core motions to get away, and then she's gonna come right back, so she has to have quick spider legs to get right back into the position. There she goes, right back into it with a combination of an egg beater and a breaststroke kick. See it again, you see how she pushes back, and she uses all of her strength to come right back. Look at the height she's getting. Look at the strength that she's having to use out of her back. I mean, everything is being used on that situation. Everything is being used in the situation. And one of the things that we do is that when we are training legs now, we got to train the modern way. We can no longer just sit there holding the ball. Okay, guys, come on. That's the best we could do. That comes back from the 1950s. I have videos from the 1950s Hungarian team training, and they're using some techniques that we're still using today. And again, we should always learn from the past, but we must live in the present. So in the present today, if you look at our athletes, they are more fit than they were 50 years ago. They actually have a lot more quickness than they were. I mean, if you compare all the test results, they are better than we were, So when we do these exercises, I try to combine a lot of exercises within one, because all of us have a time issue. We do not have like, oh, just keep adding hours at the end of the workout. You got 2 hours, and that's what you got to fit in. All right. Take a look at the second one that we're going to show right now. It's the same situation. Watch how many different skills we're going to use in the same drill. Okay. Let's go back here. And stop that. All right. Here we go.
In this center drill, with both hands on the ball, the players push the impact ball for 10 seconds against the wall. At the end of it, the time, with a tightened core, they will throw the ball over their heads with 2 hands against the wall with speed and force. This drill should be.
So again, take a look at it. They're in a horizontal position, a little bit of what we call an empire position, but most of the time the girls would be horizontal, guys would be empire. So if you look at the legs, they both have the same thing. They both have high hips. They both have wide egg beater legs, and then they're just pushing the ball here. Again, concentrating on forearms and hands. It's always important to have that strength.
Repeat it 6 times, 4 times.
As they're going to go get back up, as they get right back up to the situation, we'll stop it right when they do it. Take a look at it here, boom, stop. As you can see, total vertical position. We don't want lean. We want vertical position. We want the arms to be there. And then all we're going to do is explode. We want them to throw this very hard. Okay, and the ball comes back, and you're just throwing the ball. You are throwing the ball probably around 85% of the time, pretty hard. Okay, I wouldn't say throw it all out, but again, we're using our back, we're using our core strength, we're using our forearm, hands. So we are working many, many parts of the body, and that's something that is very, very important. The last one I want to show on this, and then we're going to talk, and I'll come back for some more. This is a drill, again, I created this one. There's 16 of these drills that I've created, 16 without the impact ball, 16 with the impact ball. This is one of my favorites, and I started using on Tony a long time ago. You can see it is that position appear easy, but remember what's keeping your body up is the forearm and the legs. Okay, so he's not leaning on the wall. He's actually pulling. Look, you can see the flexors on the arms working, and you can see the arms working. The core, the leg is constantly moving. Well, yeah, let me tell you about that. You know, on this drill right here, the one thing that we find is that most kids that I work with, none of them could do it. None of them could actually do it and hold the position. They actually just see the, you know, this part of the body will lower. So
Okay. All
it's
right. Thanks
a
a lot.
very good position. Mike, what's your mic? So you know, it's a very, those are very good drills, right? I mean, and they are drills that encompass all the drills. Because guys, I mean, think about it. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's, like I said, if it's John or if it's me or if it's Gina or whatever else, or whatever wants to we're working on. We have a time limit. We have a time limit. I mean, we're gonna get what? They're gonna give us 2 hours of pool, an hour and a half of pool. I mean, whatever. We always have a time limit, no matter what. So what I want to try to do is use exercises, number one, that I can use in corners of the pool, sides of the pool, that are not being used. So then, you know, you give me one lane, like if people say, oh man, the swim team only gave me one lane. Man, I can design a practice in one lane that I guarantee you that after 3 weeks, half of the swimmers are going to want to come to the water polo side. Because they're going to be fun, they're going to be inclusive, they're going to be exciting, and they're going to be fun. You know, that's the whole thing. I mean, you want to look at the work, and that's something we definitely have to do. You know, let's take a look in here. And Mark, yes, those should be already on the app. They should already be on the app. I did put them in there already. You know, like I said, we are redoing some of those things, and we actually have a meeting today, I think it's with the NBC, because the Olympic Committee actually wants to use some of our skill video stuff into the Olympic Games. So it's going to be a lot of fun, and because they want to do the testing that we're doing and all that, because it's getting a lot of results. So, but going back to what we were talking about, so again, so we designed a workout that basically it's working legs, hips, lats, hands, forearms, shoulders. I mean, so it's game related. It's got to be game related. So what a best way to work on shot blocks? Seriously? What a great way to work on your shot blocking skills. You know, what is a great way for you to come right back into it, and you know, and then sometimes trying to go up and still be able to hold that and work on that whole upper body part. You know, all these things. I don't want to design a drill for each one of them, guys. That's past. It really is. I mean, we can't do that. I don't have time. If I had 8 hours a day, I don't think I could do it. I could not do a drill that it would just basically just work on one little aspect of the game. What we want to do is have inclusive drills that work 5 or 6 parts of the game. Let's talk about the physicality of the game itself, because somebody asked me that question. I had some great questions that have been asking for me on that new app question things where players ask me that. Let's see. John, those will work well. You can modify it a little bit for the higher wall. And what they would do is when you do the higher wall, I mean, even though, because of course, sometimes you get that big high wall, there's 2 things you can do. One guy actually wrote me what he did is he kind of had these little kind of L kind of things that you just hang on so the guy could still have his hands lower. And just a couple of those things that they're very easy to do with any kind of wood, can be done with anything. But if you are going to use that one on top, then I would say get away from the wall a little bit more and kind of do it more into spurts, you know, going back up and down, because that would help, but it still gets the same idea. All right. Gina, yeah, exactly. Like the gutter, the whole thing is that we want to have that verticality of the whole thing. We don't want to just have everything on a horizontal, because that's more of a defender situation. We want to be able to get that up also. So if we don't have the you know, let's say the deck so low, like I said, we can definitely put a little bit of a lip on it. Those are very easy to do. But if you don't have a lip and it is something a little bit higher, like I said, like I was telling John, just do a little bit of one spurts and just kind of come back in and come back out, and that will work fine too. The other thing you can do with that one, John, if you do have a pool that's really high gutters, go to the corner of the gutter, and that way actually go and you put your hand on each quarter, and then what you do is that do it away from a little bit, and then you can actually do it that way, okay? Because by having it on both sides instead of in the front, give you a little bit more of a balanced triangle. So that's another way we can get around it. So and the same thing with the drill that I had Maggie do. Again, it's a drill that if you look at it, what she's doing, I mean, it's like coming off the 2-meter man, getting right back into the 2-meter man, or getting off the player, getting right back into the player. You see how much core she's doing. I mean, she's almost like doing jackknives as she's coming out of that wall. And I mean, you think about, I mean, man, I think I might be able to make money in water polo finally. I think I'm designing programs for ladies to get in great shape, like the ones that want to go into the movies. But I think if I put them to some of my workouts, man, they're going to be fit, because that's what it is. I mean, it's a fitness of, stomach, fitness of core, fitness of arm, fitness of everything. And that's an Encompass workout will do, I go sometimes to look at different types like TRX, and I see Pilates, I see all these workouts, and actually the majority of these workouts, Zumba was a big one for years, and the reason these workouts actually were very successful is because they were Encompass. It was different than the old just whatever, just up and down, up and down. I mean, this thing's now they're so inclusive, and it works all the parts of the body, and I think we need to do a better job with that with ours. Let's take a look at one more. Again, and this one right here, if you look at this one right here, for example, actually, let's move to this one. There, no, I did that one too. Okay, let's see this one here. Okay. Yeah, that's the one. That's the one I'm looking for. Okay. If you
For
look
this
at this one
exercise,
right
we
here,
need 2
watch
impact
this.
balls. The players will individually hold each one of them and then push them both against the wall, moving the egg beater around, hips around a little bit, just enough. After holding it for 15 seconds, both balls are to be held straight up for 15 seconds.
So again, look at again, the players are actually working their hands, they're pushing, they're constantly moving their hips right to left. So if you look at the legs are constantly changing. They're not just going one way. They're moving left, they're moving center, they're moving right, as they are moving also in the shoulders and the arms. And then at that point, they go straight up with the 1 kilo balls impact, total verticality if you look at it. And all they're doing again is breaststroke kicks and just maintaining, okay? And this one, because of the demo, I just had them do that, for about 10, 15 seconds, okay? But in a regular training situation, I might have the players actually do that for as much as like 2.5 minutes, maybe even 3 minutes, because it's so Encompass. I can, within that drill, because that's number one, there's a 2 and 3 with it. I can also go from pushing the ball, or maybe have one of the ball up and just kind of lock back here, and then the other ball here, and then lock back here, and then push it and hold both balls up. I can also have them, if I want to, these are the 3 that I use, one hand and then 2 hands, and then the ones that the guys did. But these, again, are workouts they're working on guarding 2 meters, right? I mean, if I look at the way I guard 2 meters, that's where I'm going to use something like that. So let's go in here, for example, and let's move into this one right here. I think this one here. Watch what we just did on the leg, because now we're going to put it together how we work on it. Remember the drills we did, right? I showed you those wall drills. Now watch this drill.
In this defender series, discouraging the entry pass by using the hurdling technique from right and left. The hips must be high with horizontal position, using vertical breaths to jump around the player. It is important to give some space for the move and moving the head to the outside arm side. Keep the body constantly moved and eyes on the ball.
Now, does that remind you of any exercise from the wall? That's the idea, guys. You got to think of the drill, you got to exercise it, then you got to put it in the drill with this game-like, and then, of course, when you get to the game, the player is going to be able to do it. If you look at the way she's using her hips, is exactly what we did on all these exercises. The way that she's jumping forward to discourage the ball, as we've talked about before, there's a big difference between discouraging the ball and denying the ball. She's at this point discouraging the ball, right? So again, she's always had the right hand up and looked at her left hand. Look, and never puts the hand on the shoulder. She's always on the back or on the armpit, never over the shoulders, always on your back. That's a big mistake. You see kids get lazy, and when they're moving side to side, they put their hands on top of the shoulder. If you watch it, Maggie never, but you see that she puts it, and she takes it right back out. Because if you don't have your hands on the shoulders, it really is pretty hard for you to get ejected. You know, referees, as they should, they're not looking to make a call. They're looking to see the mistake that you make that can cause the call. If you don't put a hand on the shoulders, you don't go around the head, it's pretty difficult to create a call. All right. So again, important just to move the side to side. You notice that she throws her leg first before she jumps. So look, there it is. The leg goes first, and then she gets into position to deny the ball. Okay. And you can see how the body also comes on a straight line right here. You know, it's just a total, almost like in a straight line. And that's enormous when you're going deeper. Now let's take a look at this one here to see the contrast. On this one here, okay, we're denying the ball. The first one we discourage. So that means they have a good center. But if the ball comes in, we can still steal the ball because they have a very quick defense. And we have a pretty good 2-meter guard. So in that case, we are running a discouraging type of defense, right? This situation here, you got a center that is incredible. He touches the ball, it's all over. I mean, if you touch the ball, it's going to be a goal and exclusion. Then we need to deny the ball to the center. All right? So let's take a look at it. See the difference of the leg movement.
This denial exercises is a denial entry, using the inside arm to thrust with a strong vertical breast kick and a powerful stroke right in front of the center, taking his position away. You must return to...
See, that's the key. That's the thing that I don't see being touched a lot of times. Okay, and that's actually one of the things we learned in Europe. And there was a couple guys, actually one was Cuban called Del Valle, but there was a couple of great defenders that most of the defenders, they come in with the left side first, then slide the right. So they throw the left arm first to get in front, and then they come in with the right. The problem with that is that allows the center to slide a little bit. When you're coming this way, not really, because watch what
behind
happens.
the center, using a strong push
no matter
with
what,
the center's back, you stand him up and then repeat the exercise
looking at
over
the
and
ball
over.
at all time. He comes back, head is always up. Again, he goes back, pushes the back. Again, the inside arm comes in, total denial. He is now in position to deny the ball. Okay? And again, the legs are always pointing away from the body. Don't dangle your legs under you. That's the biggest mistake. And of course, we do have a couple referees or guys that can referee. As you can see, there is no contact. He's swimming around the center. He's basically being positive. That's one of the things that the rules are very specific when they write, is that there are usually not a lot of exclusions called if you are trying to play the ball. Okay? He is not sinking the player. He's jumping in front of the player and then using the same contact that the player has to him. And that's an important thing to remember. Again, he goes away, almost clean cut, goes in front of it, and then with his shoulders and his hand underneath, he's jamming her legs and holding it. Okay? So again, this is something you can have your players do right around the side of the pool, like that one lane that we talked about. And you can do this for guys. I swear, when I was training guys like Hudnut and Jesse, those guys over there in the Olympic team, trust me, I mean, I've trained a lot of 2-meter guards in my life, and we would just do repetitions. You just basically find what to do, deny, discourage, and then go 12, 14, 16 minutes of exercise of deny and discourage. And a lot of times, sometimes we try to do too much, we end up not doing anything. So if you go ahead and you do deny or discouraging, and you go ahead and you just do it. Just sit over there and just go over and over and over and over and over again. But he's going to get very comfortable with that move. Okay? I'm now going to show you when I come back, because I'm going to show you Peter Hudnut, for you guys that don't know him. I think a lot of you have heard from him. Peter Hudnut was a center, and he was cut on the 2004 Olympic team. He was a third center. He did not make it. Bailey and Powers did. And so he did not make the team. All right? So he came to me and he was very frustrated. I mean, I've coached Peter for a long time. He went to Harvard, but Rich Corso and I have been great friends. And so I've known him since I was a little boy. And he was just really frustrated. And I said, Peter, I think you're an outstanding center, but you're an outstanding domestic center. I think your true position is to be the guard. I said, would you be willing for me to change you in 6 months from a 2-meter center to a 2-meter defender. And he said, of course, coach, I trust you. So what we did, we had to reteach everything. We had to reteach how he did legs. We had to reteach how he played, because all of a sudden he's not playing in front, he's playing behind. And within 6 months, he gets called back for the national team. Of course, he goes to the 2008 Olympics, gets a silver medal, comes back in 2012, and was named one of the top 3 defenders at the Olympic Games. Okay, he's a guy that did not play defense until he was almost 27 years old. Okay, so that's why I don't buy this crap like, he just doesn't learn. Yes, he can. We just have to teach it right. Okay, so watch what he does. I asked him to do it. His series. I asked him to do a series for me, and I want you to take a look at it.
I missed that. Could you say it again, please?
No, Siri, I'm not talking to you. I said serious. Knock it off. Phone is trying to talk back to me. Okay, so if you look at this one right here, look at not the lunging around. Let's take a look at, let's see which one I'm going to start with. No, let's start with this one right here, and take a look at this drill that Peter does.
Wall drill is a 2-meter defender drill in which the defender practices stepping with their legs first, trying to create as wide and lengthy a step as possible, while also adjusting your hips into a strong base.
Again, does that look familiar? Same type of leg work, using the wall. These are wall drills. These are things you can do in the corner of the pool, 1 guy at a time, 2 guys at a time. It will really enrich your workout, and you got to get a lot of success.
Position. Again, you don't want to stack your hips vertically, as that weakens your legs. So keeping and rotating over your hips into that strong base position allows you the strength and flexibility, as well as helps you to anticipate the offensive player's movement. It's also key to keep your head on a swivel, just like you would in a game.
Okay, so now that we've seen that one, let's go to this one right here. Watch this.
This next drill is a fronting 2-meter defensive drill, where the objective is really repetition. Repetition is the mother of certainty here. We're trying to step with our lead leg, moving our legs first always. If you get caught with your upper body way out of position, the offensive player can take advantage of that. Notice here that I'm trying to move my legs first, with my hips trying to point down towards the bottom of the pool as much as possible. Now, that's not a steadfast rule, but it will give you a stronger base and allow you to dictate the tempo and strength of the game to the offensive player. Again, repetition is key. I do this every warm-up.
So let's take a look at the board here. By the way, guys, are these videos helping? I mean, these videos, they're helping some things to see what we're trying to work on. All right, let's take a look in here.
They're awesome.
Okay, let's take a look at the board right here. I think you guys can see the board. Okay, there we go. So what we're trying to do when we're trying to create that defender position, like I said before, I mean, it's kind of like in soccer, that little box that we have in here, right? I mean, that little soccer that the box guys have, when they take the penalty shot. Well, I look at it as the same way. So we have this box. So this player here, he needs to understand that there's 3 planes, right? So if I take a plane going that way here, okay, and then I'm going to take 2 more planes, and it's going to go like that, okay? So that basically, we do a lot of times, we do this when we do, graphics and biomechanics. That is, we're taking that line, to, let's say, the area where we feel that the shot might come from is 8 meters. So we take that line up here to that line up here. It's kind of almost like in basketball that have the stuff around it. And then the line where you want that 2-meter man to be, that's 2 meters, right? The 2-meter man is here. So this guy right here, his job is this trapezoid. So if I put the lines in there so you can see it, but when it comes down to, once it's over, there you go. That's what I want my 2-meter guard to control. I don't need him to control everything, but I need him to control this trapezoid. So I need him to be able to come here, 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 back, here, here. He has to be here because the ball might come from here, right? And the ball, so the ball might come from here, here, right? So he has to be within the little reverse kind of trapezoid right there because he needs to cover this area here. And what I see a lot of times, I mean, it's so easy for him to say, oh, you know, just get behind and push. Okay, fine. You're going to get behind and you're going to push some guy like Terry Schroeder is a great example. Yeah, get behind and push Terry back in the day. You're not going to push him an inch. He's going to hold the position the whole time. So you can't just say, you know, sit behind and push. I love coaches that will just go, wow, coach, that's easy. Just sit behind and push. And I go, really? Great. All right, I can't wait for you to play my to-be-the man that not even God can push it. So what are you going to do instead? So you have to be able to have different ways. You got to be able to attack with a swimming motion. You got to be able to know the discouraging versus the denial, right? So if the ball is here, if I'm running a discouraging, right? So if the ball is here and I'm running a discouraging defense, I want to be here. The ball might still get here, right? But I feel that I'm quick enough to get around, and I feel that these guys are going to come back quick enough to help me out. That is a discouraging defense. I can control this center pretty well. So I'm going to be about right here. So I can still kind of jam them if I need to, right? So that is a discouraging position, right? I'm just kind of right here. If I'm running a denial position, then I'm completely in front. I'm right there. There's no way in hell the ball's going to get to his hands. The only thing he can do is throw the overhand. Again, on most denials, the goalie's out a little bit more. Okay. So this is, as you're training, you do the wall, you do one-on-one exercises, and then you put them in front of the goal, and then you do it again. You know, so there's a I was telling the Cuban Federation this morning, I said, you know, everybody knows what needs to be done. Really, guys, come on. I mean, anybody's ever seen a sport. I mean, you know what? I am not a Monday morning quarterback, you know, but even if I don't know anything about those guys running around in pajamas and helmets on their heads, you know, I can still say, well, yeah, in football, they need to block. Yeah, hey, they need to block. Oh, gee, that offensive line needs to open up holes for the guys to run. You know, I mean, hey, I can make all kinds of stupid comments because everybody knows what needs to do, but very few people know how. So what we want to do as coaches is not necessarily what. I mean, why do you just look at the game? Just clean your mind. You know what needs to be done. You know the player needs to swim, he needs to get better legs, he needs to shoot, he needs to pass. But how? How? Here's a good example that I used today when I was doing a passing. There's a new passing sequence I came up with. You guys are going to love it. You got a new passing sequence that I came up with. I was explaining to them, you know, I went to watch Galaxy's training, and those guys spend an hour and a half in passing. You know, soccer passing to the inside the leg, the other side of the leg, you know, controlling the ball, the outside of the foot, the inside of the foot, putting the ball on the shoulders and controlling to the left, putting the shoulder to the right, controlling to the right, be able to make the ball spin one way, spin the other way. They hours passing. Let's be honest, guys. Most coaches' basic passing for them is warm-up. Throw the ball out there. All right, guys, let's pass for 10 minutes. I mean, how many times, like, for example, today, the reason I'm saying this, because today I was so pissed because I told my guys, I do not allow talking during passing. You can talk all you want when you're shooting or you're doing all this other crap. When you're passing, you do not talk. I want to know how many passes you made. I want to know how many drops you had. I want to know how's the ball coming out of your hand. How's the spinning coming out of your fingers? What is the height that you're doing? So for the girls, you know, so for like Akari, Yu, and Gina out there, what I'm having the girls, I take duct tape and I duct tape on their bathing suit a height that they need to pass above. So their bathing suit has a line on the bathing suit. So then is all I have to do. I go, every time you pass, I want your body above that line. And actually, a couple suit companies are going to start making these suits. You know, again, I didn't patent, so I'm not going to get any money. Damn it. You know, but basically what it is having a line. So basically you got to pass. With the guys, I basically just say the same thing. And I tell them, unless they do what I say, I'm going to duct tape them. And that will hurt when it comes out. But I've also have put shirts on them too. But again, is the idea of like, oh my God, just go up, you know, just go up. and just making sure that your body is fast every time. I mean, what was your elbow? What was your hips? And one of the things I did this week was I had my assistant, today with the phone is easy. I just had my assistant put a camera on them for 20 seconds at a time. Just watch them passing for 20 seconds. Then afterwards, I just show them, like, here, this is how you pass. Oh my God, I didn't realize I had my elbow low, you know, it's over the head, and, you know, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. This is, you know, not even God can help at this point, but keep trying, you know. But those are the things that we got to do. So we have to make sure there was quality versus quantity, you know, and we're going to do that. Let's take a look at one more thing. There's got a couple things. We've got plenty of time. So when we did this, so what I want you to do now is, I think the one we didn't do was, let's see, drive exercise. No, that was driving front. That's the one I go. Fronting wall drill. Changing position behind the player. That's the one. Okay. All right, here we go. So then we're now going to get into a whole position with Peter.
Lateral movement while behind a center forward.
Watch how you throw the
Notice
guy
how
to the
here
other
I'm
side.
trying to pull my knees in and shoot my legs across to the other side of the offensive player, so I can more quickly and adeptly set a strong leg base. While
You know, one of the reasons we created this drill, there's a player named Carlos Silipo that is now a coach in Italy, but he was a great 2-meter guard back in 92 and 96 and 2000. And one of the things he was very good at is that he had his head in one side of the player and his legs were completely the other.
moving
So watch
across
how Peter
behind
has
the
a
player,
head here, but look
I
at his body.
created
His body is almost completely the other side, but the head is still here. That also gave him that he was very rarely excluded, because again, he still shows to the referee that he's on this side, but his whole body's over here. So when the ball comes in, he's pretty much ready to jump
Little
completely to
separation.
that side. There you go. You know, and so it's clean. You watch where he's having the hands the whole time. Is again in the ribs, right into the rib area, right around the armpit area. It's a very uncomfortable area for most people. So actually, most people, when you put a hand there, they feel very uncomfortable. And half of the time, they actually will turn their hips just a little. If you see even him, that he's just being that as a model. But you can see that even with him,
the
it's not a
offensive player and
comfortable
myself
position.
and utilize their lat muscles as a point of leverage. That helps me get across more quickly and keeps them a little off balance, thereby allowing my legs to maintain a strong focal point.
All right. So again, everything we do has to be based on that. And you say, gee, but he's very strong. Yeah, but you can make people strong. What's the big deal about that? I mean, to me, when a player comes to me and says, oh, coach, he's so strong. So I go, basically, you don't want to play? If he's strong, then get as strong as he is. You know, come on, just go out to the weight room, things like that. It just drives me crazy. There are some things that are hard to learn. I get faster. So 6 weeks ago, I had this girl, and the coach, I'm not going to name the coach, but the coach said, you know, this girl, I don't know if she's going to make the team. And because, you know, she just has no speed. I mean, she's holding her fastest time in the 200 is 2:33. She's 14, 15 years old. And, but she has very good skills. She's about 5'11". She's very long, and she has really good skills. So I looked at it, and I looked at his stroke. I looked at everything else. I says, all right. So I talked to the mom. She's somebody I've known for a long time. So I train her now for 6 weeks. Okay. So I just trained her for 6 weeks, you know, just from Monday to Friday, you know, just giving the swim sets, right? And leg sets. Of course, I completely changed her stroke, and I made them, you know, long and strong. That's a water polo player should swim, long and strong. And then today, I was very happy today because she called me today and said the coach wants to talk to me because he wants to know what did I do that she just went a 2:03. And I said, well, you know, I don't want to, when I talk to the coach, I don't want to say, well, she finally got coached, because that might be rude. But I'm just saying is that maybe understanding what you have might help, right? So you got a very long girl that was chopping up her stroke. She had no legs whatsoever. She was totally swimming with her arms. They were very skinny. Of course, she's not going to go anywhere. But then if I take the stroke and make her do more legs than anything else, when she's basically kicking the crap out of the water and using the kick as much as he can, and all she's doing with her arms and throwing out there as long as he can, and then do a little bit of mental training thing like, you can do this, like positive, you know? So to me, that's the kind of things that's easy. Okay, the hard part is to get the kid, God, develop the new shot, to develop the new technique. Those things are hard, but the other ones, they're not hard. They just have to do the right thing. All right. Yeah, Paul, that's true. Paulo, that is so true. Because like I said, it's just, if we know how to swim the long and strong and we really get to our legs, you'd be amazed how much faster you're going to get. And again, I am not claiming anything here and there. I'm not saying I'm going to make, now she's going to go from 203 to 153. No, doesn't work that way. You had huge drops because everything was wrong. Then after that, then it's going to be a lot harder. So now, but 203 and a 159 might take another 2 years, but it's okay because now she can play at that level. And remember, we're polo players. We don't chase black lines. Okay, so that means as long as I can get my point across on the counterattack either way, I'm going to be fine. All right, let's take a look at a couple exercises because I want to talk about the attacker a little bit now. Then we'll go back, to some of the other stuff for driving. But let's go in here. This is a driveway exercise. When I do driving exercises, just to let you know, the same reason that I do everything else, we don't have time. So I'm not really in favor of just like single shooting. I see a lot of times, okay, let's go shoot, and everybody just picks up the ball. Everybody sits on the ball. Everybody thinks they're chickens, and they all sit on the ball. The other one is leaning on the ball, taking a nap on the ball, and then just taking a shot about every 10, 15 seconds. Well, maybe if you only have one ball out there, maybe they would be doing egg beater and then really working on their shots. But I prefer to have more of an inclusive type of training. So this is the one that I usually start with. Pretty much that's my warm-up shooting drill. Here we go.
Start with a slip stroke technique. Player drives to a position 2, then follows to a position 1. He returns quickly to position 2, then finishing it up at the end with a shot from position 3. All these are done at maximum speed.
So to me, that's a great way to warm up. I started with slipping stroke. They're going technique and legs. Then they're driving to all the positions. He's a right-handed driver, so he's going to position 3, 2, and 1. And he's going right there. There he goes again. Now he's working. Anyway, it doesn't really matter if there's a goalie or not. Like I said, I think goalies are overrated. Just shoot the ball. That's all you want to do is put it in the corner. So again, you're going in there. He's working on catching. He's working on passing. I can go ahead and have, a lot of times when I tell the kids this, I tell them I'm a lot like the internet. I have filters. So if I go ahead and have a drill like this, I can start putting the filters. I can say no fake. I can say high corner only. I say, okay, only near side skips. I can say no lobs. I can say on the shot, hesitation. So hesi moves or off speeds. So I can throw all kinds of filters within that same drill. And what that's going to do is it's going to allow me to have one drill that I can do it in so many things. I mean, think about it this way. We're shooting the ball by driving positive towards, so we're going south to positions 2 and 1. Then we also balancing screens by shooting the ball 1 to 2 and 2 to 3, right? We slip stroke, so that means we start with arm speed and leg thrust. So I'm using a lot of my hips. So again, let's go back here real quick. I'm gonna stop sharing. So I take one shooting drill, one shooting drill, right? But if I do it this way, and like I said, you say, well, I only have one goalie. Who needs a goalie? Really? This is a shooting drill. You should actually get to the position and shoot the ball. I can do it easily. I can do it with a goalie. I can do it with just a goal. I can do it with throwing pull downs. I can do it with hitting a chair. I can do it so many ways, so many different ways. You can have people going at the same time. Sometimes I even line up in 3 or 4 different situations and they're all going at the same time. Because I'm sitting over there as coaches, and I go and I usually sit, not because I'm tired, but whenever you're evaluating shooting, try to sit down and see the player at that level. When you stand up, a lot of times doing this way, it will give you a different perspective. So what I find when I want to watch the shooters, I usually try to get to their level. So I usually try to either sit down or lean a little bit like this so I can kind of see them in the same plane. That allows me to really see the posture really well. Sometimes when we're looking from the top, it's hard to see, particularly in some pools, okay? So These are some little tricks. But then if you look at the player that way, so they're just shooting, they're doing what they're doing, and all I basically sit there and going, okay, I mean, I can do it even on my phone or even I have photographic memory, so I just have to remember. But I just sit there with this, okay, hips, the elbows too low. Okay, he went 6 straight times to position 2 on shooting. Okay, he's not getting enough speed, and then, like I said, these are positive, and you continue on. And then as that player finishes series, because he took 6 shots, he'll come back, and I can say, come here. And I'll say, hey, well, that's the next one. Let's concentrate on getting that elbow up. Let's concentrate and go. I can just always be positive. And at the same time, I'm always teaching. So instead of yelling at everybody and stop training every time to do something, this kind of workout allows that shooting time to be about 15, 20 seconds. As the next person is doing it, that gives me plenty of time to talk to that player for 10, 15 seconds. Particularly if we learn how to communicate with small comments. We don't need to write the Bible, all right? We need to say, hey, drop your elbow, your hips are high, or, open up your egg beater, follow through, just use buzzwords. And you're going to find out that you're going to get a lot more accomplished instead of stopping the workout every time. All right, let's go another one. Hold on, I have a question here, sorry. Oh, okay, Mark. All right. Okay, let's go in here. All right, so let's take a look at this one now. Boom, 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 boom. There you go. This is, okay, most people will know who this person is, of course, but probably the greatest player, by longevity, is the greatest player of all time. He's the only player in history to have gone to 6 Olympic Games. Still holds the record for most goals in the Olympic Games and also overall in the Olympic Games. Really changed the game, probably the greatest driver of all time and maybe the greatest player of all time, at least, arguably. Manuel Estiardi, this drill was designed by a guy named Markovic. He was a Hungarian that went on to coach Mexico and then went on to coach Spain, and is considered to be probably the greatest technician when it comes to passing and shooting. He was also my coach. I learned a lot from him. And this is one of the drills that I absolutely adore.
Manuel Estiardi drill. The player starts with slip strokes. Upon sighting the ball that is passed from behind, player explode towards the ball, get his legs under it for a quick shot. This should be repeated multiple times for development of sighting and quickness, both on a counter and on the drive.
Okay, so if you look at it, what we said again, the key part is the sighting. The way this drill is created is for 4 reasons. Number 1, the sighting. That means he is looking forward the whole time, and she's going to throw 4 balls that's going to be right and left. So his ability to actually perceive the ball right or left as it crosses that plane. Okay, that's what's called sighting. So once he sights the ball, that's the first skill. Second, how quickly does he react, anticipates to that area to get the ball. Third, how quickly can he get there? Fourth, how quickly can he get his legs under him to be able to take the good shot? Okay, so you have 4 skills in one drill. Same thing, multiple balls, allows me to always talk to the player afterwards. The problem with single ball shooting is that how are you going to watch everybody if you're watching one, and then as you want to talk to that one, the other one is shooting. No, this one you watch one guy shoot 4 times. Okay, then you have time to watch the next guy because you have time to talk. All right, here we go again. Watch, he's looking straight forward. Okay, arm speed, always hips ready. He sees the ball, explodes toward the ball. One kick gets him there. He flips his hips right under him. The legs is in shooting position, and he goes right back up. Immediately back to the next shot. Again, too many times we do this stopping all the time. Stop, make drills more comprehensive where they go from one thing to another, all right? So again, same thing. Here comes the third, explodes to the ball, gets his hips under him. He's looking at the cage the whole way. He puts it in there. And then with the last one, same thing, always goes back to where you were, in this case around 7 meters, and then basically goes to the left. That one is close enough that he can just swoop it, come up, and he takes actually a spinner, all right? So I showed you 2 shooting exercises, 2. And I'm telling you, those 2 that I showed you, I probably do it every day, for about 10 minutes every day. Because there's so many skills involved that I can just sit there and like, it's like I did 10 shooting drills. They're driving, they're swimming, they're recovering, they're coming off the screen, they're reading the ball, they're getting their hips under them, they're shooting the quick, they're shooting cross gauge, they're shooting for all positions. So again, it's so nice to be able to do all these drills into the same 10 drills. That's all it is. It's 10 drills, you know, but it's 10 drills in 2 drills that I can just do in 10 minutes, you know? So, and you know, what we're going to try to do is that, again, this is the 2 that I brought today. I think I brought one more. I thought it was 3. Yeah, I thought 3 drills. Wait, let me see if I forgot one. Let me check. All right, I have that one. What's that one? No, I did that one. Nope, we did that one too. Oh yeah, that one. Okay, let's take a look at this one here. This is actually not a shooting drill, but it's a way to actually learn. This is actually one of the better ones, and that'll be the last one. But let's just see here. This is it would explain itself, but it's
hips defensive move. Why I always talk about swimming in place is watch as Maggie swims in place, my hips immediately drop, right? And that enables her to get that first stroke in front of me.
Watch. So the situation is, again, you spin your stroke, right? So swimming place, get the player to commit. She takes her first stroke because he doesn't know if she's going to go right or left. She takes the first one inclusive, so she cuts in front. The moment that she does that, she slides her hips. Once she has her hips on a player, all she needs to do is buckle. So now she goes to do is throw the hip. There he goes. And of course, he's overreacted on this one. But
now what's so important is
look,
both Maggie and I do different moves. But if you can watch Maggie, once she's in front, she elevates her hips, which limits me from getting close to her and gives her separation.
I also want you to watch Maggie's legs when she finishes up the move. Go.
So that she can get the advantage and score the goal. So important.
Right.
Where your hips.
Watch what she's going to do from this point on. Watch how much ground she gains on this.
And especially at the beginning, swimming in place.
Breaststroke kick, and then egg beater, LX. So you notice that she finished with that breaststroke kick, then she goes to LX. There goes hip up, stretches herself, huge. There he goes, breaststroke kick, boom, and then LX. That's what we call LX right there. LX. All right. Sorry, that's the one I wanted to show you. So those are the 3 driving ones. I wanted to talk about the defense first. Like I said, I'll get it to Jimmy. John, how are you, man? Good to see you. And so I'll get these videos. Hopefully these will help you. You know, like I said, they're great, actually, not just for coaches to understand, because sometimes we need to have visual aids the same as everybody else. But I think also it's something that you can get your players in the room and put it on a big screen and just show them. A lot of times if you see it, it's, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words, like they say. And it is true. You know, in some situations there, I mean, it's so much easier. Every Wednesday I meet with the academy here, and we sit in this office that I now sit inside. And I sit over here and I put the video up there, and sometimes we will watch in 1 hour. We will watch basically about 3 minutes of a game in 1 hour. But when the players leave, they can pretty much quote every situation, every screen, every drive, everything that happened, versus just to say, yeah, you know, I broke down video. I watched 2 videos today. I love when people tell me that, and I'm like, wow, this guy's good. I mean, he can break down 2 videos in 30 minutes. Good. It's all right. I mean, I can do it, but then I'm doing it to talk to people that probably know as much as I do, more or less. But, you know, if when somebody tells me that it is a player, I'm going to go, okay. So on that 3rd offensive series, you know, when number 10 basically drives across and throws his hip down, what was he trying to accomplish? When was that? When did that happen? Because you didn't assimilate anything. You're just watching. And there's a difference. There's watching videos. I love watching videos. But there's breaking down videos. And for me, when I want to really break down a skill, sometimes I might play that skill 10 times just for me to see, that's what I didn't get last time. He used the inside of his legs to push versus his feet. Sometimes it might take you 10 times to look that through. Man, it's so good to have you guys back, man. Love you guys. Thank you so much. I'm going to get ready, start getting ready for my granddaughter's birthday party for tomorrow.
Hey, Rico, can I ask you one thing?
Of course, John.
Give me 1 second. This is kind of off topic, but when you get a chance, I know you're really busy, and I know everyone's got shit to do. But we had mentioned a while ago about you were talking about like benchmarks for certain age players, like 10 and under, 12 and under.
Well,
Is there a form I could like? I'm not asking you to do it right now. But
No. I'm going to write it because actually it's one of the things that somebody just asked me to write, but for a specific situation, and I just did it. So I think I can modify it to what you have, and it won't be that hard.
I have some ideas. I just want to know what yours are like, because I'm trying to kind of make a thing up for.
Yeah, I think like I said, the benchmarks for me that works great. Is I don't want to benchmark by age because we all know the kid's been playing for a long time is different. But I'm going to say I benchmark by skill.
Yeah.
So, like, say where a player when he has these many skills is at this level. He has many skills at this level.
So you could have a 12 and under and 16 and under if they have the same.
Absolutely. I'll send something to you. I'll get it to you by next week.
Appreciate it. Yeah. It's
All right, guys. Great seeing everyone.